Hello everyone, this is Remleiz from 40k Theories, and welcome to this newest episode of Adeptus Podcastus. Joining me as always is Tactica Imperialis.
Hello everyone, good to be here once again.
Yes, unfortunately no guests this week. We simply didn't have a chance to get anyone on board because everyone's been so busy as of late, taking kids back to school and all that and stuff.
And of course tournaments are now back on, so everyone's actually got a hobby life to lead as well as a work life.
Exactly, so good luck to everyone who's at that big tournament in Gibraltar, is it?
We actually got in contact with someone who is at a tournament in Gibraltar. So there's one on out there at the moment, and there are a bunch of other hobby events coming up soon. If you look on the Warhammer community website, there is an article from a couple of weeks ago with a bunch of event dates for you to put in your calendars.
Exactly, and speaking of events, should we just jump straight into the big thing in the news, the Warhammer Day Preview?
Yeah, I think, well, if we started anywhere else, then I think we wouldn't be doing our jobs.
Yes, long story short, there was a lot revealed, as there should be at Warhammer Day, so... Well,
was there a lot, though?
A fair amount.
I mean, yeah.
Considering on the actual preview page, it takes you to different pages, so...
Basically, yeah, they've changed the layout, haven't they? So instead of having one big mega article, they've got 6 individual articles for the different things. So, as for what we've got, start from the end and work backwards, or start from the front and work forwards?
We might also start from the top with Shadow Throne.
Indeed, that seems like a good place to start for me. Shadow Throne is a upcoming boxed game for Warhammer 40,000 that pits the Talons of the Emperor, because I refuse to call them the Adeptus Custodes because the Sisters of Silence are right there, up against the Gene Stealer cults with new characters, the Blade Champion, who is absolutely bananas with some of his special rules, and the Reductus Saboteur, a character that can plant mines all over the battlefield. These will also be accompanied by new codices for both factions, with the Silent Sisterhood being fully integrated into the Custodes as an army.
About bloody time.
And about time too, absolutely. So the Sisters are being remembered. They exist. It would have been nice to see them get a couple of unique things to tie in, rather than just, the one box that they basically have.
I mean, in fairness, we might see something in the Codex. We don't know yet for sure.
We might. They might decide to import some of the Forge World stuff from 30k, but I'm not holding out much hope.
No, but at the same time, there's always a chance, even though it may be incredibly bloody unlikely.
Agreed. As for the Gene Stealer cults, they have a fantastic piece of Codex artwork. I really like the artwork for this Codex. And they are getting a bit of a redo, being able to leap from hiding, so rewarding careful positioning. So, I mean, it sounds like flanking arcs without doing flanking arcs. So that should be quite interesting to see how that works out rules-wise.
One thing I do want to point out in regards to the theme of this box set, it's basically the storyline of, the whole Gene Stealer cult being found on Terra. But they seem to be changing the law somewhat, because they've changed it so it's like, that they want to capture a patriarch so they can study it. That's why the Silent Sisters are there, to basically nullify, the patriarch's psychic control. Which kind of goes against the previous established law for the, Worms of the Earth Tendril cult on Terra, which basically, the Inquisition were the one to find out about the cult, so the Death Watch petitioned the Custodes, hey, can we send some kill teams to eliminate this? Because we have to ask you, because, Terra's your turf. And Trajan Valoris was like, no, I'm going to do it myself. And then Trajan just kills, the Patriarch with one swing of his axe. And then the Inquisition like, oh, cool, can we examine this? No, set it all on fire.
I suppose
the fact they want to capture a patronage seems to be like, please don't retcon the story of the Earth Tendril, because I like that story.
Well, we'll have to see exactly what this is, whether it's the same story retold or a new story, because is it confirmed in the story of the Earth Tendril that cult and all other Gene Stealer cults on Terra were wiped?
It was, from what I can recall, it was described as being like the Gene Stealer cult on Terra, and it was like, had like a huge territory sprawling across throughout the Nord-Afric conclaves. And basically, Trojan Wars had to assemble an entire shield host to get rid of it.
Right. But did they actually fully stamp it out, get rid of it, burn the whole lot?
Yes.
Right. I was just thinking that was there a chance that a few gene stealers survived or were not found or got away, and thus...
They might have changed it to that, but from what I can recall, they eliminated it completely, and then they burned a sanctum because Trajan's like, we don't want the Inquisition to see what's in here, because what's on there? The big painting of, High Fleet Leviathan coming up to consume Terra from, beneath the galactic plane.
I mean, obviously Trajan isn't in this box, and they've introduced a new type of character for the job, so... This one feels like, because it talks about this as a, how did they put it? A cunning, capable, and prepared enemy. So this doesn't sound like, whilst it is a charge into the cult's lair, absolutely, it sounds like the cult are ready for them. Which suggests that either, they're ready to fight, and the entire article, the video package for this seemed to suggest that they were ready for a fight. Or it could be that this is a sort of story within the story. That whilst the official story was burn it all, get rid of it, if they know that High Fleet Leviathan is coming from under Terra, they need to be able to understand the hive mind somehow. I'm not trying to suggest that this is or isn't a retcon. I don't know. But I think there is room within the story we've told so far for them to extend it or rework it just enough.
Yeah. Though at the same time, this wouldn't be the first time, Games Workshop have retcon major events. Like, in that recent issue of White Dwarf where you had that battle report basically doing the reconsecration of Sanctuary 101.
Yep.
It's basically completely retconning all the events of the Second Sisters of Battle novel because they changed the bloody battle order who's doing it. Because in the novel, it was the Order of Our Martyred Lady, because Sanctuary 101 was one of their strongholds.
Well, I think it might be because the guy who was fighting the battle report for the Sisters was doing a Tale of Four Warlords and just happened not to pick that one. So they had to make a new story.
Possibly, but considering it was a studio battle report, you think they could just use the studio army or something,
No, the point was it was Tale of Four Warlords versus Tale of Four Warlords. That was the point.
Right. Just seems a bit weird to go for a canonical event that's already been documented, and written about multiple times. It just seems weird.
I suppose.
That's my opinion. Anyway, moving on, because there is a lot to get through with this preview. For Age of Sigmar, we got the battle tome for the Maggotkin of Nurgle.
Yes, so this is the oldest battle tome left in the game, having been first recently released in January 2018. It is the oldest book. It is the only book, aside from the Idoneth Deepkin, that is pre-AOS 2. So it is an AOS 1 book that is finally being updated. So it is long, long overdue. It only comes with one model, as far as we're aware, before the December release, which is going to be a Rotbringer's Sorcerer, which is a pretty nice looking model, all things considered. Nice fly aesthetic, fitting with the themes of Nurgle, and very different to the Blight Kings.
I like that alternate head with the fly head as well.
That is suitably creepy.
It'll make a good conversion for a Chaos Space Marine Sorcerer as well, with that fly head, I reckon.
I mean, yeah.
You do it as like a stylized helmet or something,
Yeah, I think to be honest, the good thing about Nurgle is you don't have to have them fully armored to make a tanky Chaos Sorcerer. Unlike Tzeentch, where they kind of need their armor, and Slanesh, where they need something, and Khorne doesn't have them anyway. But it feels like the Nurgle range is more transferable to 40k than perhaps some of the others because of the fact that bulky equals armor for them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying turn Blight Kings into Plague Marines, but you know what I mean.
Moving on, we have a new edition of Dungeon Bowl coming out as well.
This must have set your old-timer things rolling quite happily.
I'll be honest, I never really truly got into Dungeon Bowl specifically.
But for the uninitiated, what is it?
It's basically like a spin-off of Blood Bowl, but instead of fighting on a pitch, you're fighting throughout a dungeon a la Warhammer Quest or something like that. It's weird, but wacky, as, Blood Bowl tends to be.
Yeah, it sounds like the objective is to score 1 touchdown, but the problem is you don't know where the ball is. It's hidden in a treasure chest.
Yeah, and the good thing is the teams are not restricted to just one race per team. Like the teams are mixed races. So on one team in this box, you got Skaven and Dark Elves, and you got Dwarves and Ogres and Nobblers. Yeah,
the idea is that the dungeons are underneath the colleges of magic, and so each college picks a team to represent them. So these are the College of Shadow and the College of Fire, as depicted by the purple and the orange colour schemes. So Shadow team, very quick, very sneaky, not that good in a fight, relatively speaking. Dark Elves do hit pretty hard. Versus the Fire team, if you know anything about fire magic, it is straight, blunt, smashy, and to the point. And also very orange, hence why the Fire team has dwarves, including what looks like a Slayer, and ogres. Big, not that fast, but damn smashy.
Yeah, that is a Slayer, yeah. Which they basically serve if I recall, they serve as basically the equivalent of blitzers.
They already have ogres for that.
Ogres are bigger blitzers.
But yeah, it seems like it's quite an interesting way to do Blood Bowl. And for someone like me who's always sort of been on the fence, I've nearly bought a Blood Bowl team 2 or 3 times, but I never do because it's just finding a way to play it, people to play against, all that stuff with specialist games. And whilst, again, I think I'm going to find myself in exactly the same position with this, it's nice that there is another way to pick up this game because it's probably a little bit shorter and a little bit less complicated in terms of the amount of players you have to manage and the line of scrimmage and all of that stuff. There isn't as much hand egg to manage as there is run around and smash.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, and quickly touching on to Blood Bowl very briefly, they did reveal a star player, which was a Croxagore.
They did?
Which is a big guy.
Yeah, so this is for the Lizardmen team. Doesn't have a name, this one, but I've seen it in Blood Bowl 2, the video game. They're stupid, or not necessarily. Yes, okay, they are stupid. They've got the bonehead rule, which doesn't mean thick-head, it means dumb. So they can just do nothing sometimes, but they hit like a truck and they do not go down.
It's basically someone decided to give, a Tyrannosaurus Rex some, football pads, essentially.
I mean, not entirely inaccurate, just with actual useful arms.
For a change. So moving on to the next preview, we have the next edition of Warcry, Red Harvest, which pits Conan the Barbarian against Spider-Man.
Yes.
Essentially.
So yes, the warbands in question are the Tarantulos Brood, which is a bunch of worshippers of the Eightfold Watcher, their version of Chaos. That's how they worship Chaos. This is quite common in the Mortal Realms, where people from different places worship Chaos in different ways. And they are taking on the Dark Oath Savagers, which are essentially a very barbarian team, absolutely. Not much armor, lots of big slashy weapons. One of them does definitely look like Conan the Barbarian, I can't argue with that.
Oh my god, I just noticed. Okay, so, the picture with what looks like a wizard, basically holding an eyeball in a hand, it's got like a bird skull staff. It's Tim from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Have you seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
I know of it, and I know some of the memes of it, but I've never got around to watching it because it's not on the telly that often.
That wizard looks exactly like Tim. That there are some who call me Tim?
I see a little bit what you mean. I wouldn't call it an exact carbon copy, but I see what you're getting at for sure. And one detail I really like on that model is if you look at the hand that's holding the eyeball, how they painted it to look all withered.
Oh, yeah.
Like both arms, actually, are painted to look really like they're withering away from the use of either Varanite or dark magic in some way, corrupting them or just withering them away and siphoning their life force. And they look really shriveled and disfigured compared to the big, bulky brutes of the rest of the warband. I'm just hoping that these guys lead to a further expansion of the Dark Oath, to be honest. because the Dark Oath are a really small part of Slaves to Darkness that don't really get mentioned, but like most of the followers of Chaos are Dark Oath. Like most of them, like Marauders, should just be retired and replaced with these guys in general. You've got the War Queen, the War Chief, you've got the Godsworn Hunt, you've got these guys. There is now enough that the Dark Oath and the Warcry warbands can be split off from the bulky armoured Chaos Warriors of Slaves to Darkness, almost make their own separate sub-army if they want to streamline that faction a bit.
Yeah. I also want to say I really like the terrain in this as well, like the, it's like a foundry
mine
kind of thing.
It's a mine.
Oh, it's a mine, okay.
So yeah, they're mining for Varanite, the realm stone of the 8 points, which has got really powerful corrupting magic. It's the stuff that Morathi used to make herself a god.
Right. Still looks really cool though. It could probably look really good and like, I don't know. You try and like if you want to take it into 40k for something, you could probably use it like as part of like a Dark Mechanic and Forge World kind of thing.
Possibly, yeah. And a lot of people gave it a lot of Lord of the Rings vibes as well, like Saruman's mines. I think people mentioned.
Oh yeah, now that you mention it, yeah.
But either way, very nice models and hopefully the sign of things to come, because we've had warbands from all 8 of the realms. We've had the Knight Shadowstalkers that I've got, and now these 2 as well. I always like seeing what they do with the Warcry miniatures wise, even if, like everything else, it's just finding the time to learn, play, and get opponents for it that I don't think I've got. They're still very, very nice models all the time. I always like seeing the Warcry stuff.
Oh, and there go the fireworks. Apologies for everyone listening if you hear random bangs and booms in the background. We're recording this on bonfire night, so
yeah,
people are setting off fireworks.
Yes, it's the 5th of November here, so there are fireworks going off. I haven't heard any down my end, but there probably will be later.
Yeah.
Next up was a set of rivals to the Idoneth Deepkin for having the most interesting beasties in a warband. For Underworld's Harrow Deep's 3rd warband, Black Powder's Buccaneers.
Pirate Ogre.
Pirate Ogre indeed.
And a monkey with a shiv.
A monkey with a shiv designed specifically for crab cracking, because the Idoneth have a crab.
Basically, all that Underworld is going to devolve into is just basically a knife fight between a crab and a monkey.
It's definitely... I remember I was watching this with a bunch of people in my Discord, and as soon as this warband was revealed, literally someone was just like out of control laughing for the next 3 minutes after seeing the monkey, and spent the next hour making monkey with a knife memes.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, that happened. But they've also got a couple of nice-looking pirate Noblars, including one with a peg leg, and a nice parrot. I'm sure it's supposed to be like an evil parrot type thing, which is nice and chunky as well.
Evil parrot.
And I think even if you're not into Underworld, if you wanted to create like a different Ogre Tyrant model, just something different, this is a really great place to start, because they've got a black powder pistol, they've got a massive great weapon. You could really create something different instead of the plastic tyrant that comes with a spear and shield in something tithe, bone tithe, I think, or something like that. Something like that. There's an Ogre Tyrant in there, but it's only got like a spear and a shield. This is a very different way to do an Ogre Tyrant, even if you're not playing Underworlds.
I can also imagine there's going to be some mad lad out there who's going to take that ogre and turn into like an ogre inquisitor or something like that because of the coat.
I mean, yeah, an ogre in commissar. Could you imagine?
Oh, that would be a great conversion for like a bonehead. He thinks he's a commissar.
Yeah,
that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, you can sort of maybe tidy up the sword, make it look a bit like add some Achilles. You've got the gun, which just like it's not a Ripper gun, but it works.
Idea: replace the sword blade with like Gabriel Seth's Eviscerator, so it looks like just a massive chainsword.
Yes. Massive double-handed chainsword and a massive boomstick. Yes. That sounds
maybe sculpt a little cap with green stuff. There you go.
Yep, sounds like a plan to me.
That commissar. And the long-awaited piece of news from the reveals was we're finally getting a model of Jagatai Khan without his bike.
Yes, so Jagatai Khan has finally been revealed, the last of the Primarchs to receive a miniature, and It's a very, very good miniature.
It is. I kind of wish his beard and mustache was longer, but maybe it's just the pictures doesn't show it fully. But yeah.
Oh, they certainly trimmed the mustache from a lot of the artwork. He certainly trimmed the mustache. It's a bit more of a goatee beard rather than a
Fu Manchu.
Yeah, type thing. But one thing I really do like, there's a couple of things I really like about this model. One is the way that he's got, I don't know its official name, the idea of like samurai armor underneath his, or over the top of his power armor, which I really like.
Oh, yeah.
And I also like the fact that even though he's wearing power armor, he's also wearing gloves. Like for riding, he's got riding gloves on instead of just power armor.
Nice little touch, yeah.
Which is another nice touch. The cloak itself led to a few Santa memes. I won't lie, there were a few Santa memes going around. But it is in general a really nice one. And look at the pistol as well. Have a look at it.
It looks like a flintlock.
Yeah, like a flintlock pistol, which is a really unique design as well. You've got the curved scimitar as well. In general, a really, really good model.
It's a Talwar, isn't it?
Talwar, that would be a more like, scimitar is just what comes to mind as a sort of, as a catch-all term.
I like the eagle head pommel.
Yeah, that is good. It's got eagle heads all over him, to be honest.
Well, he is the Warhawk.
This is true, so probably they're hawk heads, not eagles. But
Hawk, eagle, they're both birds of prey.
The question is, now we can actually formally, and I think might be a video I make in the next few weeks, rank the Primark models, now that we've got all of them.
Well, I think we can all agree that Lorgar's is at the fucking bottom, because it's just such a boring model.
The Lorgar model is definitely not high up the list, I will give you. And I admit, I think the problem is with doing Primark model rankings is there is such an element of personal bias in terms of favoritism of the Primarks. Like, I love Magnus's model, but that I don't know how much of that is down to how much I love Magnus.
Yeah.
As a character. But it might be an interesting discussion that people can now start having of ranking the Primarks. Though, admittedly, you did make the point, no bike. He does have bike rules, so how are we going to get around the problem of he doesn't have a bike? Mind you, he is kind of stood in a pose that you could probably... You wouldn't... it's the tabards mean he couldn't just straddle a jet bike and be done with it.
This is when Games Workshop really wants to, milk us from it. It's like, and here's second Jagatai model on bike. It's like, you bastards.
I wish I could say I'd put it past them.
It's like, this Jagatai is £60, but if you want the version with a bike, that's £145. Why 145? Who knows? Who cares? Just buy it.
This is true. But they did mention in the reveal video around this that they are not done with the Horus Heresy as a game just yet. Yes,
we're still waiting for the Emperor model, aren't we?
We are waiting for the Emperor, but they talk about this idea of a storm that's coming. And this got me thinking, because we've already done the Ruin Storm. So do they mean the Scouring, so they can milk us for Demon Primarchs?
I'll be honest, I just thought the storm was coming was just basically, hey, Jagatai's coming soon. Because, White Scars tend to be associated with storms, don't they? So
I mean, this is true. It could just be that. What's his bike called?
Oh, God, off the top of my head, I don't actually know.
I felt like it was called Storm Rider for a second, but I feel like that's to do with someone else. Or something else.
God.
I'm going to quickly Google it.
Let me check. Well, he has a Sojutsu pattern void bike, apparently. But it doesn't actually named, from what I can see. Bloody hell.
An early prototype Imperial jet bike that predates the... So, yeah, okay, it doesn't have a name, basically. That's what we've learned. It doesn't have a name. I didn't know if it did. Never mind. Ignore me.
Though apparently, instead of actually being a jet bike, it's actually classified as an ultralight fighter craft.
Jagatai Khan likes to go fast.
He can fly and even go through space, apparently.
Quite so. But yeah, we'll see exactly what is to come for the Age of Darkness. Obviously, the Emperor we know about, but what else? Are we going to get any more for the character series? Are we going to get more books?
I mean, there was that rumour of a new box set with Imperial Fist versus Sons of Horus, wasn't there?
And there have been leaks, and I put that in air quotes, because some of the things that they're throwing around Like, they seem to suggest some content, a new Horus Heresy rulebook, but then they say that the box is £240. And you just think, are you sure about that? We'll see.
I mean, if it was £140, I'd believe it.
140, yeah, I'd believe it entirely, but we'll see exactly what it entails and who or what is in it, if there is one. I don't want to speculate too much because, well, partly don't always like talking about leaks, and also they may not even be reliable. And
plus, there's also the fact, like, the last 2 Horus Heresy box sets were nowhere near that price.
No, Calth and Prospero were like 90 quid, but that was a number of years ago, back when GW didn't know what 3-figure costs were unless it was made of resin.
So that's it basically for the Warhammer Day reviews, but we still have quite a few things to get through, so we'll try and breeze through more because there is a lot. Joy Toy have announced the second wave of their figures, which include a Primaris Librarian and an Invictus Warsuit.
Yeah, they showed us the suit, actually, before the last episode that we recorded. They gave us a sneak preview of the Warsuit. And it does look really well, I have to say. Though it probably only comes with... Does it come with 1 gun option in-game? I don't even know. But it looks well, I'll say that.
I like the fact that the pilot is actually removable and actually can stand outside of the actual suit itself.
That's true. So you can actually...
There's some display options.
Oh, it also says hang on. The Infiltrator squad only comes with 4. So if you want a full squad of 5 Infiltrators, you have to use the pilot of the Warsuit. That's cheeky.
Oh, bastards.
Oh, that's not on. I'm sorry, that's not on. But, that said, the Librarian looks really good, I think.
I like the fact he does come with alternate head, helmet, and hands as well.
True, the head's multi-posable, and yeah, you can have them sort of casting or not, as the case may be.
And you can just put his hat on as well, so you can hide his face.
Absolutely.
So I've never been a fan of the, the dad look for the Librarians.
It makes sense, but also doesn't make sense, because like the Librarians is a place of lore and a place of mystery that sort of suits the sort of classic old man in the tower aesthetic, but also it's one of the most dangerous professions in all of Space Marine chapters. Therefore, the turnover rate is quite high, and therefore you have a lot of fresh blood coming through.
Is this me, or is the paint coming off of the actual the power cables leading from his psychic hood over his shoulders, around the yellow? Is this me, or does the yellow paint come off?
I see what you mean. It's a similar thing on the Warsuit too, where some of the blue looks quite like it's fading, but I can't tell how much of that is the paint scheme by design and how much of to look dirty and damaged, and how much of it...
on the Warsuit, it might be... It looks like it's intentional, because it looks like there's bits where there's, like, scuffs and, like, battle damage a little bit, but on the Librarian, it just looks like the paint's just flaked off.
Which, if true, oops.
I mean, this wouldn't be the first time, do you remember when the Bandai figure was first announced, they did that 360 and the bloody arm was out of its fucking socket?
Yes, I remember.
Or the Salamander whose arm had fallen off in the banner.
Yeah, there have been errors in production, definitely, but either way, it's there, it's a thing, and I'm sure that anyone who buys them will quite like them.
I'm sure they will, even though they're... I wonder how big the Invictus actually is, considering that the other figures are about 4 inches tall.
Well, you can see the pilot stood next to it, can't you? And the pilot gets out and is designed to stand alongside the Infiltrators, so...
That's probably going to be, about 7 inches, do you reckon?
Give or take. I think it's obviously perspective as well, and how far forward it actually is in the photo, so somewhere between 7 and 9, I should think.
That's true.
However, we should actually say Warhammer Day didn't actually fully end on Jagatai Khan.
Did it not? I forgot.
There was a small teaser frame, a small teaser package, just as the stream went off the air, which was then revealed on the Monday after Warhammer Day to be the Christmas model for the year of the Red Gobbo.
Again.
This time riding the Squig plushie.
Oh, yeah. Of course. I mean, at least it's not, a rehash of the same pose. At least they're actually doing something, different this time. And it does look good, in fairness.
Yeah, I mean, he's got like a dynamite that looks like a candy cane type thing, a pistol, and you can actually use this model in game as well. It's going to have a power level data sheet in the box and rules and a points value in White Dwarf as part of Legends. As he's going straight, so it's a straight to Legends data sheet.
I'm sure Wib is crying somewhere.
Aye, quite possibly. But actually, in the interim, I think it might have been either just before or just after Warhammer Day, we got our first look at the Black Library Advent Calendar.
I think we missed something very briefly in regards to the Red Gobbo.
Oh, did I?
His book.
That's where I was. It's in the Black Library Advent Calendar, I think. Is it? No. Sorry, no.
The Advent Calendar's artwork.
Sorry, yes. It's part of the Black Library Christmas package. So, I mean, that's e-shorts. That's not the bloody book. Okay, ignore me. I'm talking rubbish. So, yes, I was trying to do a segue and I completely botched it. All right, fine.
Never mind.
But
yes, the Red Gobbo is getting a novella of his own, which is very surprising considering that the Red Gobbo himself was a character stuck on Gorka Morka, but this is not the same Red Gobbo. This is a different Red Gobbo.
Yeah, so it talks about the transformation of a grot called Fingwit into a legend. So it may or may not be the origin story of the Red Gobbo, probably not, but it's definitely an interesting place to start with them. So yeah. Yeah, so when an orc mech whom he unswillingly says forces him and his fellow grots to board an Imperial vessel that is the tiny part of a vast war in the void. Okay, yeah, it's definitely on a void ship rather than on a planet by the sounds of it. So a classic Christmas novella of retribution and revolution, quote. But it's by Mike Brooks, who is very well known for his orc writing and will be out on pre-order by the time this video goes live.
Excellent. I didn't know it was actually coming out that soon.
Yeah, it said from this Saturday, and that article was on Wednesday. So,
fair enough.
But now we're on that library. Let's talk about some of the books.
Yes, I'm trying to find the... there we go. I think I found it. Right. I was trying to find the link that had them.
Yes. There are a lot of articles to have to skin your way through when you're trying to find everything on Warhammer Community. Yes.
The Advent short stories.
Indeed. There are, is it 12 of these?
I think it's 24. I think there's like one a day, one every day in December before Christmas.
One for every other day, I think, according to this. Yeah, a dozen.
Yeah, a dozen, yes.
So there will be a mix of things. So there's another orc story by Mike Brooks called Road Rage, featuring Uthak Blackhawk.
Which is the one from Brutal Cunning, for those wondering.
Thought as much. Last episode's guest, Nate Crowley, is contributing with Mad Doc, a Mad Doc Grotsnik novella as he tries to rebuild Gazkul.
Well, not novella, short story.
Short story, sorry. I always forget the difference between the two.
It's all right.
We have a Master Lazarus short story, for those who care about him.
There's no one.
He chases down myths from old Caliban. And there's a Guy Haley Caradron Overlord short called The Lost Carrack, which is the name for the different skyports of the Caradron Overlords, by the way.
Yes, and we're also getting stories involving Gazgul, Threka, and Eidolon of the Emperor's Children.
I think, so are they doing Gazkul and Grotsnik then?
Well, apparently so, yeah, because it says like, all new stories from Warhammer 4000, Age of Sigmar, and Horus Heresy, from fan favourites like Gazgul, Threka, and Eidolon to new characters such as Minka Leska and Drekkie Flint.
But they talk
and
about...
then later it says, among other literary treats, we'll see Mad Dog Grotsnik. So there you go.
But Drekkie Flint is mentioned in the bottom paragraph and the top paragraph, so they mentioned him both times. So I don't know.
Or maybe we're getting 2 Drekkie Flint stories, I don't know.
Who knows? But yes, plenty to look forward to in there. Eidolon should definitely be an interesting one, if probably incredibly creepy. So yeah, plenty to dive into if people get a chance to read those. And you can get them on a 12 for 10 deal if you want to get all of them, if you get a subscription, if you so wish anyway.
Quickly going back to Horus Heresy, next batch of Horus Heresy DLC dropped. For those of you unaware, every now and again, Warhammer Community's been dropping some downloadable content for mission packs and lore in regards to certain campaigns that aren't featured in the Black Books. This time around, it's the Battle for Hydrocaudatus, which is the Iron Warriors and Imperial Fists. And it actually has rules for the for Perturabo's Terminator bodyguard, what are they called?
Iron Circle?
No, that was robots.
Oh yeah, oops.
The Dominators, I think they were called.
Oh, I should know this.
Yeah, because the Iron Circle were all automata that had big, massive hammers.
Yeah, the Dominator cohort, that's their name. Sorry, I was thinking of Perturabo's Honor Guard rather than anything else. Apologies.
That's all right. But yeah, if I recall correctly, this battle is also focused in the events of Angel Exterminatus, I think?
I cannot recall. It is sometime after Foul, obviously. I do know Hydrocaudatus comes up, but I know it comes up again in modern times with Lysander, I think. Hydrocaudatus.
Imperial Fist Lysander or Blood Angel Lysander.
Imperial Fist Lysander.
Right.
I think they go back to Hydrocaudatus sometime in Lysander's story as well. But either way, there is plenty of lore in there. And you get rules for these Terminators, 275 points for a 5-man squad with Thunderhammers, Combi Bolters, and Cataphracti armor. And they can have Land Raider Phoboses, and they also get... So the Dominator cohort were Perturabo's Honor Guard, and they failed at Foul, so they were replaced by the Iron Circle.
Right, that's it, yeah.
So they may be chosen instead of a command squad as a bodyguard for Perturabo. But if they do this, they lose their Hatred Cybernetica rule and gain Feel No Pain. So you can actually take them as the pre-Foul Iron Dominator cohort, where they didn't hate robots for replacing them and instead were just super tanky.
That's pretty cool. You got some options there.
Absolutely. It is the only... I think that's the only piece of rules, and then you've got a few missions as well, a little mission pack to play through, which is good, and that's about it. So for Iron Warriors players, there's a new unit. For everybody else, there's little bits of scenarios you can play, though in all truth, you're probably best being an Iron Warriors and an Imperial Fist player because of the way these games are played.
That's true. I just remembered... one of the weirder things that was revealed, the scented candles.
Oh, yeah.
So, have you ever wanted to know what the Great Devourer smells like? Or how the Tau's scent of expansion? You can buy some scented candles.
Yeah, so what was it? Catachan, Death World, Ethereal...
Catachan Potpourri, Dark Angel Tallow... Toxicrene Spores,
Ethereal Pheromones,
and Slanesh Soporific Musk.
If any of those sound appealing to you, please get help. I'm joking. Sorry, that's a poor joke.
I mean, Center of a Death World, okay, so I'm hoping that's like a pine smell or something.
It should be like quite woody, musky flavours, I would expect.
Yeah, Dark Angel's tallow, so it'll just smell like a regular candle.
Old school candle, yeah.
Great Devourer, so it'll smell like, I don't know, rotting meat.
Oh, the Tyranids don't let anything rot.
I don't know. It's dark red, so it could be, I don't know.
I mean, like, it'd be better. I mean, I don't know if I'd rather that or digestive fluids, because that's primarily what it would be.
Vomit.
Yeah.
And Slanesh, I don't know, probably smell like, I don't know...
drugs. It would smell like drugs.
You light it, and all of a sudden you got Dr. Roxo going, like, I'm Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown. I do cocaine.
Quite.
I'm the Metalocalypse.
And then Ethereal Pheromones, well, I hope you like Mind Control.
Ethereal Pheromones, that'll probably smell of, I don't know, sweat.
Yeah. Mind Control, except not really.
It'll smell like an overly used, sock. Take that how you will. And speaking of things completely horrible, what the hell are those Christmas jumpers?
Their Christmas jumpers, what on earth were you expecting?
I don't know, but apparently they were selling out very fast. So,
again,
no accounting for taste in some people.
It's Christmas jumpers. What were you expecting?
I was expecting some people to have taste, but never mind.
Yes.
Anyway.
What else was there in all there? There was the...
Black Library submissions.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I was having a quick read through the Christmas article that you were just reading through.
Oh, sorry.
Because there is a 2022 calendar, if you want one, for 40k. Or just the Warhammer 2022 calendar, which is entirely 40k, I think. Yeah, I think so.
Well, it's the Warhammer 40,000 calendar, so yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, it's the Warhammer calendar, but it's got Warhammer 40,000 on the front, so make your damn mind up.
Well, it is the Warhammer calendar, it's just the 40,000 version of it.
Indeed. Sorry, you were...
So it's like, it's technically correct.
It's technically correct, yes. Where were you going before I cut you off there?
Black Library submissions.
Ah, yes. So if you are looking to do submissions for Black Library, you've had your interest piqued by what the things you've been reading. Maybe you tuned into last episode with Nate Crowley and you got a bit inspired. I wouldn't blame you if you did. It was I really enjoyed talking with Nate. I thought that was a great episode. And I'm not just saying that because I know he listens to this. But yes.
Hi, Nate.
But the theme is Dawnbringers. So it is a Age of Sigmar submissions window, which is a 500-word sample and a 100-word summary by the 9th of November. Or by the time this episode comes out, it's already over. Never mind.
Never mind, but we had to mention it anyway at some point. But,
we tried.
You know, gold star. It was poorly drawn, but still.
Yes. I think there's one other bit of news I do really want to talk about this week, which is actually one of the Warzone books. I know it's new for me to want to talk about these things. But Warzone Octarius is getting book 2, Critical Mass, and it's got some really unique rules in it, including the ability to take the Astra Cartographica, which is, as I understand it, rogue traders. So you can take 2 data sheets and a cargo hold of exotic crusade rules to take your rogue trader models in games of Warhammer 40,000 as well as their crew.
I mean, if it's more than anything, it's probably to allow people to use, do you remember when that Kill Team expansion came out, a couple of years ago that had the rogue trader and their crew? And, those... It's probably just like, oh, you got them here, you can actually use them in game now.
Yep, and they do actually come with, looks like match play rules, not just Crusade as well. So there's a data sheet for the Rogue Trader and one for the Voidsman as well.
Nice.
Alongside, for the Orcs, since they're the other ones getting a bit of a push at the moment, the supplement for the Blood Axes, the Blood Axe kind of getting their own Codex supplement this time around.
Woo.
So they've got some unique stratagems, which allow them to do more damage if you can surround people. You've got an Auspex as a relic. You can take an Auspex. Or if you're not in the mood for sneaky stabby, you can take a unique, special army of renown, which is the Evil Sun Speed Freaks Speed Mob. So they don't get clan cultures. So they can't be like Evil Sons or anything like that. Sorry, I misspoke. But they get +1 attack on the charge, like the old days. They never count as having advanced. And they all get a 6-up invuln, increased to a 5-up invuln if they advance. So you're basically encouraged to turbo boost around the place and charge into all of the combats.
And in Crusade rules as well, you've also got options for looted vehicles.
Yes, the looted wagon is back. Again, stuck in a game where you can't play it in matched. Because they don't dare put that thing in matched play.
Well, it's something at least. It's something.
It's something. And you've got 3 separate data sheets. So you've got the wagon for like rhinos and stuff, the heavy wagon for Leman Russes and stuff, and the battle fortress for like land raiders and stuff. It should also be pointed out, if you look at the top left of the contents page, that the phrase, the consumption of Octarius, is mentioned. So, Nids win. Shock.
I mean, let's be bloody honest, the Nids need to win something, because I don't think they've actually won anything.
They never.
Ever.
This is the thing. I was talking about this in a video that I put out the other day. Nids winning is basically impossible. So I was talking about it in the context of Shadow Throne, because people were speculating, does that mean that there's going to be a Tyranid invasion of Terra in like the next edition or something? And like, by all means, but the Tyranids will lose because they're not going to blow up the Imperium. So I hope you Xenos players don't mind losing again, because you have to lose, otherwise the Imperium dies. And I don't think they're quite ready to do that yet.
I mean, considering how much they big up, the Neds as being this, all-encompassing threat, it would be nice for them to actually, build up the threat even more by having them, get some fucking victories once in a bloody while.
Mm. I guess the challenge is if they consume something, that area of space is now locked out. If you have them sweep across the Eastern Fringe and nom a chunk of the Eastern Fringe, you now can't do anything with that section of space again, because it's dead, it's lifeless, it's super dead, everything's been eaten. If you want to go back there, good luck rebuilding with absolutely nothing, with no resources and nothing to fight over.
I mean, I do want to point out that the Eldari do have technology to, terraform worlds from barren rock to actual verdant paradise worlds, the Maiden worlds.
I mean, they have the tech. Do they have the manpower to do it?
Well, if it's automated, they just need to drop it on. It'd be like in that Star Trek movie with Project Genesis,
and then hold it.
Boom, there we go.
And then hold it in a time of the. I feel like in a time of the Cicatrix Maledictum, you don't want the Eldari to be in real space for very long because of the warp exposure. I don't know. I just
they're
worry
in real space. Well, the Crawfords are in real space anyway, aren't they?
I thought they were in the webway most of the time.
From what I can recall, the only Crawford I know of that's actually in the webway is the Black Library.
I sort of assumed they floated around in the webway and then materialized when required. Kind of like how Chaos lives in the warp until it enters real space.
I'm pretty sure they're in real space, but unless they've changed it recently, because...
No, I'm willing to be wrong. I'm completely willing to be wrong.
Because I remember there being in one of the NID codices, there was actually a galaxy map, and it had showed the invasion paths of... It was Behemoth and Kraken.
Oh yeah, they crashed into Eandon, didn't they? Yeah,
and it showed the actual orbiting path of Eandon itself. It had it's a path of motion, so...
True. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't feel like the Eldari have enough numbers to really be going out and colonizing again, considering how low on numbers their craft worlds typically are. I don't know if a recolonization effort is in their best interest, given how poor their reproductive and numbers issue is.
Maybe not, but at least we do have the out and how we're going to do what we're going to do with these worlds have been consumed by this. There you go. The Eldari just dropped a Genesis bomb. There you go. It's back. It's a verdant world again. There you go.
Now, how long until the Nids notice and turn around?
No idea. Depends what's shooting them at the time.
Could be a fun tactic of how to thin out a hive fleet. Just have them playing whack-a-mole with worlds they've already killed. Just slow them down.
That could work.
It won't, but...
No, I'm being facetious.
I know.
I still reiterate saying that the Nids do need to get at least one victory in something, because how are you meant to take a threat seriously if they never fucking win?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's the same problem that the Necrons have had for quite a while, is galaxy-ending threat reduced to jobbers.
It's basically what they did to Kane. Started as a monster threat and he just jumps up to everyone.
I was going Carrying Cross, but we were both going down the same pathway with that joke.
Carrying Cross, monster heal, then he gets transferred to the main roster, dressed up as a gimp, and then released.
Boom.
Also, can I just say, what the hell are you thinking releasing Keith Lee, you fucking morons?
Don't forget about Keith. But yes, so...
Hi, Sam, by the way.
But yes, it looks like it's going to be quite interesting in terms of Octaris. It looks like Octaris is finally going to end and die, which will be nice. They've actually made it won't be nice for Octaris, but they've actually done something with the plot in a Crusade book.
Plot advancement was always nice.
I believe Metallica fell as well in Warzone Metallica.
I mean, it was their own fault for releasing Saint Anger, but hey.
This is valid, but someone did at me with the plot summary of it. Oh, yes, the fabricated general of Metallica is dead.
Right.
And and their production is crippled because Typhus has infected the planet with a machine corrupting with a machine curse of sorts. So yeah, Metallica's done.
I mean, again, it's nice that, you know, the quote-unquote bad guys get a victory now and again because it builds them up as being legitimate threats.
But be honest, how... It's one of those things, it's like, it's great, yeah, the bad guy won, but how many people know? Like, I reckon there's probably a lot of people listening who did not know that information because it's tucked away inside a campaign book, which is only relevant to 3 or 4 armies at most, and that no one else will buy because buying a campaign book for the lore is just not worth it. Even people like you and me don't do it.
Well, I bought the campaign books for the lore, but that's because it's my job.
So have you bought the Warzone books then?
Yes, but I haven't actually read them yet.
Fair point. Okay, fine. Yeah. But yeah, it's just one of those things that how much of this, like, oh, hey, look at the bad guys winning is sort of shuffled off in a corner where a few people will read it for 10 minutes, but they actually just want the meaty rules and everybody else is like, I don't need those rules, therefore I'm not going to buy it.
Valid point.
Ah, well. I think there was one other little bit of news. The Iconoclast, the War Master Iconoclast is finally here, I believe. And they just did a bit of a preview looking at them in terms of what they can get, the different weapons.
Yes, the big boy.
The big boy. So it will be out on pre-order this weekend as well. So it'll be on pre-order by the time this video goes live.
Oh yeah, I think someone actually revealed the price of it, and it's like quite expensive.
I'm not surprised. It's a big chunky Titan boy.
Yeah, even though it's for the Titanica scale, but yeah, it's like I think someone said it was something like $200 or something.
Eesh.
Which, like, considering like if it's $200, how big is it?
We'll see, I suppose, when they put it on the tabletops.
Because it'll have to be bigger than, like, you know, a 40k scale knight in that case, wouldn't it?
I mean, a 40k scale knight is 90 quid.
Yeah, exactly. So if this is $200, or say, trying to guess in, like, UK might say, like, 150 or 140, something like that.
That's a knight and a half.
It's got to be bigger than a knight, at least. By a fair bit.
Yeah, we'll see, I suppose, exactly what it looks like, but it's definitely going to have to be chunky for people to justify that kind of price tag, if that is the price tag, of course.
Yeah. I mean, we could be wrong, so... Yes,
absolutely, and by the time this comes out, we will know if we were wrong.
Yes.
The last piece...
Speaking of the Iconoclast, when it revealed the rules for the Desolator Chainsword, I just want to shout out to Kirioff, who's saying, like, you know, what is the point of the big hook? And I just reminded him of Azrael's crappy gun. And he was like, why did you remind me of that?
I don't get it.
You know Azrael's gun?
Yeah.
The whole flaw in this design, like, you know, how do the bullets get, you know, from the clip to the breech? Because they don't even line up, so you can't.
Oh, yeah. That's Paul. That's second edition at its finest.
I mean, in fairness, you know, some of the newer art for Azrael, they have actually fixed that, but it still doesn't change the fact that this is official art that exists.
Indeed. And until they update Azrael's model, it is the official one.
Yes. And it only has that massive notch in it because otherwise it wouldn't fit in the model's hand because its shoulder pad gets in the way.
Second edition at its finest.
Yes. This is basically an excuse that needs to say, like, hey, can we have a new Azrael model, please?
Yeah, that would be nice.
It's not going to bloody happen, but hey.
Yeah. The final bit of news that I think needs mentioning is there is currently open a Warhammer 40,000 Gamers Survey, which is going on at the moment. It is open until tomorrow, the 11th of November. It is for past and present players, whether you've been around as long as Rem has, as long as I have, or someone more recent to the hobby. You can have your say, take the survey, and give your thoughts on where you think Warhammer 40,000 is as a game, in terms of how it plays, and all of that stuff. It's up to you if you want to fill it in. I don't really have anything to say because I haven't played it, barring one game of 9th edition, so I haven't really got anything to say. But if you are someone who plays it, particularly if you play it a lot, you go to tournaments, this is your chance to have your say.
Fun enough, I've seen some people saying that this is basically gearing up for, like, 10th edition.
Well, it makes sense, given that 9th edition has been out for 18 months. These editions normally have a lifespan of about 3 years. GW, we know, works years in advance. So if they were going to make changes for 10th edition, they'd be making them now. So if they might already be they're probably already somewhere in writing 10th edition, probably, and thus are starting to think about these things and get feedback.
All I'd have to say is, like, if Games Workshop are getting ready for 10th edition, then can we please go back, to previous style codices with, equal amounts of lore and rules rather than just, 2 pages of lore and 25 pages of rules, please?
Yeah, fat chance.
Bring back timelines, please. Those were good.
Timelines would definitely be appreciated, though. I'll give you that one.
And is that basically it for the news?
Yeah, I think that does cover the news. As we said at the top of the show, there was a lot going on in the news with the Warhammer Day stream and everything else. We had a lot to cover there. So thank you for sticking with it. And we hope that we didn't bore you all to death, because I think we're going to circle back around a bit and talk about the Khan a little more. Yes.
So I've been reading through Warhawk. I'm about halfway through. It's a fairly chunky book. It's not as chunky as Mortis.
That took us 4 episodes.
Yeah, thankfully it's not that big, thank fuck. But yeah, so far it's just building up, it was just basically building up for an Imperial counterattack against, the traitors.
Yeah, Lionsgate. We should probably start the spoilers, because everything we said so far is nothing new, but we should now enter spoilers.
If you don't want to have the story spoiled, then skip to the timestamp in the video description below. Entering the spoiler room brawl, and man, did you see Minoru Suzuki knock Matt Cardona the fuck out? Anyway. Right. So we start off, before we start, assembling for the counterattack, traitors are basically breached through, the wall because, the Diaz array is basically broken through the walls, as it was detailed at the end of Mortis. So basically, Dawn is sending Sigismund, and his Templars to basically reinforce certain areas, blah, blah, blah. And as they're running down to their destination, Sigismund is stopped by a, what's his name? Khalid Hassan, one of Malkador's agents. And it's like, Sigismund, Malkador has a gift for you. It's like, I don't have time. It's like, Malkador says, make time. Take this. What is it? It's your new sword. I guess we all know what this is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Black Sword, his actual Emperor's Champion sword.
That's the one.
Yep.
Though it's a bit odd that he wasn't given it by Dawn. I know that the Black Templar thing was kind of a mark of shame, but if you're going to demote Sigismund, then we'll see.
But it's a gift from Malkador, and Sigismund takes it, and he's basically like, ooh, I like this sword. Okay, I'll use it. But before Sigismund was actually setting off down there, Dawn basically told Sigismund, I want you to do what you do best. What's that, Dad?
Murder.
Hurt them. Yeah, basically, hurt them. Is that, okie dokie, Daddy, I'll go do it. Meanwhile, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, an Imperial counterattack is basically massing a whole bunch of tanks and stuff that are being held in reserve. Basically, Jagatai's effectively commandeered them. It's like, no, I'm going to be taking these because we're going to be launching an attack against the Death Guard because, hey, the Death Guard are amassing and they're going to basically try and punch through because ever since Perturabo fucked off home, Mortarian's taken over his command center, so Death Guard are all amassing. And in addition to all these tanks, which were named the Terran 1st Armoured Regiment, Jagatai Khan's only gone and commandeered himself a fucking orbital plate.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it was one that was pretty much out of most of its ammunition. It only had its heavy bolters, still working. But it was acting effectively like a mobile shield to stop things bombarding, the tanks and that below. So you got all these Imperial Army tanks, you have the White Scars in their jet bikes and stuff, basically doing flanking maneuvers and intercepting infantry. Because they want to try and take back the spaceport, so when Guilliman does show up, he can actually deploy his troops quickly.
Yeah, because the drop pod and orbital assault is not that quick and easy when you've got to fight through a traitor blockade and you don't have a landing zone.
Exactly. So when the Death Guard basically are marching on, they're going on against the Imperial army, and their reaction to it is like, is that a fucking orbital plate? It's like, the fucking mad lad. Because the orbital plate is so low in orbit, it's basically just like only like a few hundred feet above the ground, that when it's moving, the friction it's causing is basically setting into all of its surrounding area on fire. So it's like effectively firing blind with its heavy bolters.
Whilst also immolating everything it passes. Let's not forget that part.
And the Death Guard's just like, that's so absolutely batshit insane, I kind of have to respect that.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to kill you in a minute, but also props for effort.
And you got, White Scar flyers basically intercepting Death Guard flyers. We also found out that the Death Guard flyers aren't very well respected by the rest of the Death Guard, because Death Guard don't like flying. It's like, your flyers, yeah, well, fuck off.
Yeah.
Whereas the White Scar's like, we're flyers. Yes, we're fast. We ride the wind. Woo!
Yes, everyone has different opinions on whether they like their boots on the ground. It's like why Space Wolves don't like teleport homers, because they just think they're weird.
Exactly, yeah. Funny enough, it does mention how the White Scars Legion has the highest number of Xiphon interceptors.
That's like the ultra-fast fighter, isn't it?
It is, yes. It says like how the other legions don't like them because they're effectively glass cannons. So like, yeah, they can do some impressive firepower and they're very fast, but, one shot, bam, it's fucked.
So the answer to that question is don't get hit.
Exactly. A few of them do, naturally, but yeah, that's basically it so far with the Jagatai Khan side of things. Though earlier on in the story, I forgot to mention that, how in the last book there was that White Scar who was basically wandering through no man's land trying to get back to his legion. Yeah,
I vaguely remember.
Yeah. He actually makes it back to the Legion, and he basically reports to Jagatai, oh yeah, we were told to hold the gate. It's like, but you were told to fall back. Before you were told to fall back. It's like, no, Dawn said we had to stay here, because otherwise they'd guess, they'd think Saturnine was a ruse. And then Jagatai was like, that son of a bitch fucking lied to me.
But, they had to make it convincing.
But Jagatai gets pissed off royally with Dawn for having Dawn lied to his face about the whole thing, which I thought was like, if anyone was going to have an emotional outburst about that, it would be fucking Jagatai. Let's be bloody honest.
I mean,
because Sanguinius is probably too polite to say something to the contrary. He's like, "Well, I understand, brother," and Dawn's like, "Yes."
No, Sanguinius would absolutely flip the hell out about being lied to. I suspect. I mean, yes, I know pot kettle black with the whole Black Rage thing, but if Sanguinius had...
Well, in fairness, the Black Rage didn't exist at that particular point.
Okay, Red Thirst, sorry. But if Sanguinius's sons, who he cared so deeply about, had been left to die and told to hold the line when Sanguinius thought they were safe, and Dawn lied to Sang about it, Sang would lose his mind at Dawn.
True. The Khan would be the first to speak out, though.
Yeah, Khan might start the argument, but Sanguinius would definitely finish it.
Fair enough, yes. Nice. Elsewhere, Alanius Pius and his band of merry men been flying, on their little plane away from that hive city from the last book. Last we saw, they basically sat down to have basically their lunch. They basically sat down because John Carmack was tired and couldn't fly the plane no more. They needed to rest. Mm-hmm. So they get out, they sit down, they get out, they rest, and they start eating their ration packs, and we find out that Leto, the prototype Space Marine who was basically assigned to act as John Grammaticus's bodyguard by Erda, we find out he likes to draw. Which is very weird for a Space Marine to have a hobby like that. That's not a Blood Angel. But we find out that he's been effectively drawing tarot cards.
As in, like, drawing the Emperor's Tarot or drawing new ones?
Well, drawing, like, actual tarot cards, when, like, actual tarot said, like, he was referring to, like, oh, yeah, this person's the fool, what would our Space Marine friend be? I don't know, the devil? Ha ha ha, kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
And they basically realised, okay, we're going to be making our way to the palace, and Leto's like, oh, good, because I need to draw the Emperor for the Emperor card. Tish. But I do want to point out, quite frankly, the best interaction in the book so far, it's when they're flying, making their journey in the air and all that. Alanius Pius is getting pissed off, and then, Cyrene Valanchian's Alpha Legion bodyguard goes like, starts saying, I am Alpharius, but then Alanius Pius cuts him off and says, if you say that one more time, I'm opening the airlock and killing us all.
Yes, Alanius Pius is tired of your meme.
I think if it's safe to say that Chris Ray is tired of the memes.
Well, yes, okay, Chris Ray too, absolutely. But in universe, Alanius Pius has probably heard it all before.
Yes, but I just want to say, like, that was fucking brilliant. And I think pretty much everyone who's listened to the audiobook had the exact same reaction now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else has actually occurred so far.
There was the whole Lorgar in a dream or Erebus in a dream sequence.
Yes. Erebus turned up at Urda's house. Well, hut, rather. And the two of them start having, like, a conversation. Basically, Urda saying, get the fuck out of my house kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And Erebus is like, she says, like, who the hell are you anyway? And it's like, I'm the Hand of Destiny. And Urda's like, really? Fuck off.
Classy.
It's like, well, it's a title I crafted for myself because I orchestrated this entire series of events. But the gods are really pleased with you, grandmother, because you were responsible for scattering the Primarks. It's like, yeah, I scattered them through the warp. It's like, yes, and the gods wanted you to do that. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up, kind of thing.
Just so done with Erebus.
Yeah, pretty much. There are hints to how powerful Urda can be in this, because when Erebus is basically, really pissing her off, Urda basically, the way she starts speaking to him, it makes Erebus think, oh fuck, she really is a powerful one. Okay, kind of thing.
It takes a lot to give Erebus pause.
Yeah. I mean, well, remember previously, Urda was described as being like, as far as perpetuals go, being like one of the most powerful. Like, I think only the Emperor was more powerful than her.
Would make sense.
So it's like, that's probably the reason why the Emperor chose her, to mix DNA with to make the Primark babies. Mm.
It's worth pointing out.
I'm powerful, you're powerful, let's do this.
It's worth pointing out, however, that when we talk about power levels, the Emperor's power level as compared to Urda when this all began is not actually meaning that Urda is one step behind the Emperor's power level. The Emperor then went to Malek and got a substantial power boost.
No, Molech was before the Primark project.
No, but there's no way that the Emperor would have still been more powerful than Urda when they went to Malek, is what I mean.
Yeah.
So,
right, my bad. Yeah.
No, you are right. You're absolutely right. You're right to correct me. But I think even before Malek, the Emperor would have still been more powerful than Urda, is what I was trying to say, and I butchered it.
Right. In other words, his power level was over 9,000. I had to get that joke in there. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So, is that argument between those two still going on, or
it's still going on at this moment in time? Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, Erebus is basically just trying to say like, oh yes, all this chaotic corruption that and all these Primarks being corrupted. Yeah, it's your fault basically, and you did the gods a favor by doing so. You're helping the gods. Just like.
Shut up.
My house, Disco.
Yeah.
I don't want to call him Disco then. Oh god, now I have this mental image of Erebus as Disco Inferno. Oh fucking hell. Glenn Gilberti playing Erebus in a live action movie. Fuck me. There are worse choices, I imagine, but and there's going to be a whole bunch of you listening thinking, who the fuck is Disco Inferno? Anyway, yeah. I digress. Trying to remember what else has happened so far, because not too much has truly happened, because it's... Oh, that's the point. There's the ongoing saga of Basilofo.
You're going to have to remind me on that one.
Basilofo is the geneticist who was imprisoned in that Blackstone prison in the last couple of books, where Euphrates Keeler was doing the interview with.
Oh, right, yeah, I vaguely remember now. Sorry, it's been a long time since we covered book 4 and book 3.
It's alright. Because he escaped from his prison cell, and because he was originally basically asked, hey, you said you can stop, all the conflict. Yes, I can make a virus that kills, all these traitor legionaries and Primarchs. Oh, great, yes, but it'll kill the loyalist ones as well.
Oh.
So, he's basically doing his sneaky, trying to hide his trail from Constantine Valdor and all that.
Yeah.
And he's trying to find a place to work. And when he's working in one particular abandoned lab, he hears, like, the crunching of heavy boots behind him. It's like, that's the sound of Astartes' power armor. But is it loyalist or traitor? Turns around, and entering the room, it's a fucking Night Lord. And he's like, oh shit, it's the worst one I could have ever fucking seen. I'm running for my fucking life right now.
Yeah, literally, I think of worst Astartes to walk through the door when you're an evil geneticist. Word bearers, Night Lords, Emperor's children, in ascending order.
He points out how the Night Lord was the worst one you could come into because Night Lord power armor is modified, with prey sight.
Ah, yes, we can't hide.
Exactly.
That makes more sense.
Modified even more, so it's like, hey, we got targeting, but ours is better than everyone else, so we can find you regardless where you're hiding. Ching ching. I'm getting the knife. It's like, run. There's also Euphrates basically like she's out of her cell as well. She's basically like dodging and diving, trying to escape from being shot, stabbed, bombed, or whatever. And it was during one of her POV sequences that we find out there are still some Iron Warriors on Terra.
Even after Perturabo went home.
When Perturabo went home, yes, but there are still some Iron Warriors left on Terra. Not many, but there are.
Okay. Is there any reason why they stayed, though?
To be honest, they probably just got abandoned.
I mean, Perturabo does have a habit of that.
They're probably like, in the middle of combat, didn't get the orders, like, oh, you fucked up, fuck it, we'll just stay here, kind of thing. But yeah, there's a bit where she sees like a squad of Iron Warriors coming towards her. She's hiding like under a ruined building, and an Iron Warrior's looking right at her, and she's like, oh fuck, he see me, oh fuck, he see me. And then the Iron Warriors just walk over and it's like, oh, he didn't see me. She turns around and there's like a round skull just sitting on like a bit of broken floor, and she's like, oh, okay, I guess you're a good luck charm now. I'm going to take the skull and take it with me. And then we find out later on, from Garviel Logan's point of view, that someone's been like making a kind of like a shrine. So with like all these skulls have been collected and polished, and like murals that appear to be like once she's drawn on the walls and stuff. It's a bit weird, but
she going all cornate.
I don't even think it's that. It's just because it's done with like images of like the Emperor of Mankind and stuff. So I guess it's like some kind of weird. You know how the Imperium today likes skulls and everything. I think it's just like the precursor to that.
And I mean, to be fair, Euphrates Keeler as a precursor to what the Imperium becomes. She was the first living saint, so.
Or just the first saint in general.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, that's basically it so far. It's building up. As I said, I'm still only halfway through, so it's probably going to hit an explosive climax soon. So
yeah, I do worry with books where they do spend 50%, 70% of their time building up. Does the climax have enough space to pay everything off and tie everything together? Would it be better paying off a couple of the B and C plots a little earlier to give the A plot room to breathe?
I mean, the size of this book, it looks like they might have time because it's at the point now where everything is effectively starting to, unfold, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or tie up, or whatever the term is.
Yeah, but I think this is what made Dawn of Fire for me work. Sorry, Avenging Sun. Even though it followed 5 different plot points and jumped around like crazy, 3 of those plot threads, 3 of those character arcs converged on each other, and the other 2 converged on each other. So it actually ended up that the back end of the book was the A plot with a couple of different perspectives and the B plot with a couple of different perspectives, rather than having 5 or 6 different perspectives and different plots running around at the end. It was a bit more coherent in the last act. I don't know.
But right. Yeah, that'll basically be it for the spoilers at this particular point in time.
All right, I suspect we'll be picking up with this next episode. Might take us a couple more just to chunk through it, because it is the thing with these Heresy books, these Siege of Terra books, is even beyond Heresy novels, they are chunky, they are detailed, and you really have to read them carefully, I suspect, to pick up all the information that you give us. Right, so welcome back, everyone. Absolutely. Hope you enjoyed your time on commercial break in between whilst the spoiler room brawl. Damn it, I failed the joke, ignore me. Tried it, failed it.
Just go back and watch that clip of Nora Suzuki knocking Matt Cardona out. It's a beautiful sound his elbow makes when it strikes his face.
Bang.
Okay. Anyway, I think we've got plenty of time to get through some questions this time.
Yeah, I would contribute with some literature at some point. Though there's been something that's been sort of in the back of my mind for the last couple of weeks since we did the last episode. I did a bunch of hobby because it was half term. And I was actually working on my orcs because I wanted to just keep my skill shop before I got back to painting my Gazkul model. And I actually built and painted some of the new orc boys, the push fit ones.
Oh, yeah.
And at the same time, I was going to build all 20 and then paint all 20 in like 2 batches and just blitz through them because, push fit, quick and easy, bing, bang, done. But I only really had the motivation to build 10 of them and actually stopped and went and built and painted 10 Beast Snagger boys halfway through. And like the Beast Snaggers are monopose too, but you glue them together. And I know how odd this sounds, but the push fit versus the glue together, it just... when I was doing those orc boys, it was like the most soulless bit of hobby I've done for years. I wasn't really enjoying myself. I just sort of like sat there and painted them in absolute silence. Whereas when I was doing the Beast Snaggers, I was experimenting with different textures and different colours and a new flesh scheme. And I was really into getting them looking good. But the regular boys that were push fit, I just didn't care. And I don't know, maybe it was just, this is a bit old man yells at cloud. It could absolutely be a bit old man yells at cloud. But I don't know, the push fit models are not the way you should do most of an army or even most of the core of an army. Like, yeah, monopose is a pain and I don't like monopose either. But monopose at least leaves room for conversion, theoretically. Whereas push fit, like if you slightly clip it wrong, you have no way of saving it because everything clips off everything else. I just didn't enjoy working on them at all.
Understandable.
Sorry, I know that was a bit of a random rant just to throw in there, but
no, it's perfectly fine.
But I just thought I'd mention it because I reckon that there's probably some people who are really happy to get the push fit orcs and just going to whiz through them, and it's really good. But I think the thing that bugs me the most is you can't get 2 legal squads out of it.
No.
Because 3 of them have shooters. Like, not 4. So you could do 4 shooter boys, a knob, and then 4 shooter boys and a special weapon. And then the rest of the slugger boys, special weapon, knob, and then you'd have 4, and enough for 2 squads of 10. No, you have to mix and match in your squad because there are not enough shooters. It's just baffling.
This may sound stupid, but does the rules actually allow for like mixed equipment squads in that way? Because I remember
it does.
Okay. I was going to say because I remember like it was like a really old issue of White Dwarf at this point in time because it was more basically to cover their own asses in regards to the studio armies because they didn't have enough of the actual right models in the studio army. So basically, they say something like saying, if you want to add some visual variety to your units, you can, so long as like 2/3 of the actual unit is armed the correct way.
No, what they say now for boys, I'm just flicking through the codex just to remind myself I get this right. For boys, any orc boy, slugger and chopper can be replaced with a shooter. So you can do whatever you want in terms of how you equip them. But it's the principle of the thing.
Right.
Like with the Beast Snaggers, you can choose whether to have a knob or not. You can choose whether to have a thump gun or not. Yes, the rest of them have sluggers and choppers, but you can have 10 sluggers and choppers. You can have a thump gun and a knob or not. The knob has different weapon options and stuff like that. A different unique head, a different unique set of legs because it's got skulls on it. This boys kit, you have to have 3 shooters, 5 sluggers, a knob with either a power claw or a big chopper with the same head. Oh, it's got variant head options, but you have to have a knob and you have to have a special weapon, which can be a rocket or a big shooter. So you cannot take a squad of 20 out of this box. It has to be 2 squads of 10. and it has to be mixed, which is the worst way to play that squad, because either you take shooters for the dagger or choppers for the attacks. You don't mix. And you have to take the special weapon in the slugger squad, even though it's not a good idea. And you have to take a heavy weapon or a melee weapon in the shooter boy squad, even though it's pointless. It just felt like you were being railroaded far more than should for, here's how you start this army. It just sends the wrong message as a starter box of, hey, build it exactly like this. You don't get a choice. Whereas if you put 2 squads of 10 boys, like the old school boys, they came with head options, weapon swaps, they were easy to convert, the knobs had at least 3 different weapon options and were completely optional because you got 11 models in the box instead of 10. The heavy weapons were entirely optional. It just felt better. These just didn't feel right to me at all because you can't mix and match. You can't have a separate squad of each. You can't have a full squad of 20. It's just wrong. Sorry, I said it.
That's all right.
But that said, the Beast Snaggers look lovely. I'm really happy with the Beast Snaggers.
I don't know why I was going to call them the Beastie Boys for a second.
I mean, I've heard worse than monikers. I'm also working on the Pain Boss as well. So, they actually gave them a Pain Boy HQ unit now. So Pain Boys went in the elite slot, and they've now got a Pain Boss, even though the Pain Boss is actually, no better. It's a Pain Boy with like an extra wound and an extra attack. It's no better at healing. It's no better at staying alive. It's actually worse because it can only heal Beast Snaggers or something. It's actually worse than a regular Pain Boy. Well. Looks cool. And it gives you another HQ option to only allow 1 war boss per detachment these days.
Fair enough.
Anyway, yes, I've got that out of my system now. Shall we do some questions?
Yes.
Oh, hang on, wait, that's on me, isn't it? Oops.
Yes, it is, yes.
I should have spent that time stalling, actually, getting the questions because my brain was not working. I did not even think filter contains questions. There we go. Right. Okay. So we were talking earlier about the whole Octarius Tyranids win, something actually happened in the plot thing. So there's a question here. Does 40k lack what they call object permanence? AKA a major event happens and with a few exceptions, nothing really changes. Whereas in AOS, every major event leads to new armies or a big lore event or major developments compared to 40k where big thing happens but actually really nothing happened.
That's a good point, actually. I think it has selective object permanence.
That's a good way of putting it.
So, sometimes a big event will actually lead to, actual consequences, and sometimes a big event, they'll just go, yeah, that never happened. It just depends on the actual situation in question.
Like, BL Tan was ravaged. Who cares? No one noticed. No one really minded. Oh, Cadia blew up. Okay. Everybody's sad now, but what did that... I know that led to the Cicatrix Maledictum, but...
And you forgot, Cadia blew up. Okay, we're going to retcon it and then not touch upon it again for another 3 or 4 editions. Okay, now it's exploded for real this time.
Yeah. I do know what you mean. Especially given the scale of the galaxy, it's hard to have galaxy-shaking consequences all the time.
Yeah.
But I suppose the advantage that AOS has got is because it's got 8 separate realms, which are like worlds or systems in and of themselves. If something happens in one of them, it doesn't have to affect the other 7. An army can come out of it, or there can be magical consequences that then spill over. That's what happened with the Necroquake and the Life Bloom and Kragnos and all that stuff. It was an event that had a consequence on one realm and then bled into the rest. Okay. If the Emperor was allowed, by no heresy, etc., to pursue his goal of accelerating mankind's evolution, what if it turned out that the zenith of human evolution was somehow beyond his own power? Would he try to repress it, stop humanity reaching it, and try and keep them under control, or would he just let it be? I mean, obviously I know he's human, he should be at the same power level as them, but take it as a theoretical.
To be honest, I can't imagine the Emperor ever allowing, humanity to evolve to become more powerful than him. I think he probably might be a bit too, essentially a little bit too arrogant for that.
Yeah, hubris, nemesis. I know what you mean. I mean, it would be...
Just because the Emperor wasn't exactly a humble person, was he?
No. It's like, I will guide humanity into a new glorious golden age, which is basically a one-man dictatorship.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. There was a reason why pretty much every single Perpetual turned around and said to him, yeah, I'm good, bye-bye, kind of thing, because they kind of realised, okay, it started off as a noble goal, but then we kind of realised that the Emperor was a bit of a dick.
Accurate.
That's a polite way of putting it.
Yeah, that's very polite. Right. Were there any chaos-worshipping Xenos that fought with Horus in the Heresy or now fight with Abaddon? I mean, you've got the Leia, but they didn't fight with Horus because Fulgrim killed them.
Unless you want to get pedantic and call demons, warp Xenos or something.
And we don't. We're not the Tau.
I don't think so, actually. Because I think, even though the Imperium and Forces of Chaos, absolutely, are diametrically opposed in their belief systems and all that, they all are, share the same belief in regards to, like, yeah, we're highly xenophobic kind of thing.
Yeah, human supremacy is not unique to the Imperium.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, yes, the Chaos powers are willing to cavort with demonic powers because, they need them or they want them and they want the power, but at the end it's for themselves or for their own cause, not for the good of all the galaxy.
There are some exceptions to the rule on both sides, yes, but generally as a rule of thumb, both the Imperium and the traitor legions don't like the aliens.
No, remember the Interrex? Oh, they were human, but you know what I mean. Like,
well, the Interrex was a mixed human Xenos civilization, wasn't it?
And I know that there was a lot of sneaky stuff that led to them getting massacred, but they kind of got massacred for it.
Yeah, because there was like them and, or what are they called, the Kinnibrack?
Something like that. I don't remember exactly how it's pronounced.
They were like alien monkeys, weren't they?
Yeah, not Jacaro, something else.
No. I'm pretty sure it was the Kinnibrack.
I couldn't remember the top of my head. It sounds familiar, but I can't be sure.
I'm going to check that 1 second.
Alright, I'll leave it with you while I just find a question.
Yeah, it was the Kinnibrack, yeah. Simian-like humanoids who coexisted with the humans of the Interrex.
Right, yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, that at least, it tells us that, xenophobia wins, unfortunately, when it comes to 40k and 30k. Right, okay.
Do you remember in Rogue Trader, like talking about the world of Armageddon and the settlement of Hell's Reach where humans, orcs, and Eldari all live together in a shanty town? It's basically like the Wild West.
I mean, to be honest, take the Eldari out, and that's basically what all of Armageddon is. Just the orcs and the humans hiding inside their own, in each other's cities from the elements and the war.
But it's not exactly like them living together, in an old Wild West, frontier town, like an orc sheriff going, "Howdy, partner," kind of thing.
Oh God, what was that?
That was a shitty attempt of an orc cowboy.
Yes.
So, yippee-ki-yay, mother grotter, or something, I don't know.
Jeez Louise.
And you've gone very quiet as you hit your microphone.
No, I wasn't hitting my microphone. That was just me making noise. Sorry. Okay. If you had a choice of 3 Chaos Space Marines to get 40k miniatures, could be a revamp, could be brand new, who and why?
Here on Blackheart, because his current model looks like shit.
It's okay, but it definitely needs boosting to make
it. Needs an upgrade.
Lucius for the same reason.
Yeah, because this model's a 3rd edition model, isn't it? So
yeah. Let's see if we can each come up with someone who doesn't have a model.
A Chaos Space Marine who doesn't have a model.
What's his name? Maybe because I mentioned him earlier, but the Iron Warrior Warpsmith, Honsu.
Yeah, I can imagine Honsu getting a model. That could be good. He'd need rules, though.
He would, but anyone you give a new model to would need rules. You could also do... I had one and then I lost it as well. Talos, Valkorin, the Soul... Oh, he's dead. That hasn't stopped them. Tycho's dead.
True. But Tycho's model came out when he was still alive.
Good point.
Zhou Sahal, there we go, because he's still alive, so...
Zhou Sahal, yeah, that would work. Someone from that group, anyway, yeah.
Or you could go for Krieg Aesopus, the Night Lord Demon Prince who, commands the biggest Night Lord warband in the galaxy, so...
Yeah, that's a shout. Corpheron, or Erebus, since Lorgar isn't coming out of his church, they could be interesting as word-bearer models.
They've already got Horus Heresy models, so...
True.
Yeah.
What about Eliphas? Is he dead? Or is he alive?
Eliphas?
Is he canonically dead from Dawn of War?
Oh god, I don't know.
I know he never won, canonically, but I don't know if he canonically died either.
No, I don't know. Oh, and for those asking whether Eliphas is in fact canon, he does have a short story in the Horus Heresy series, so yes, he's canon.
For the record, because Cronus was a place where the Wordbearers fought the Ultramarines back in the day, so they had to give some context for Dark Crusade.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Yeah, Eliphas was the main character of a short story called Inheritor. So there you go.
Very on the nose.
The Inheritor, yes. Oh god, I wonder who else could do with a model actually.
Yeah, because they've done Ahriman, they've done Khan, they've done Typhus, they've done Abaddon. Oh god, what's his name? The Thousand Son, who's in the Black Legion.
Oh, Iskandar Kaon.
Kaon, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that could work, yeah.
As a different version of doing a Chaos Sorcerer that is still potentially Xentian, but not necessarily a Thousand Son. Sort of blending together those different styles like the Black Legion do.
Or the, oh god, what's his name? That Khorne Berserker with the heavy bolter.
Mace of Aaron?
No, he was a Knight Errant.
But he was a World Eater first.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the one who's in the Black Legion.
Oh, yes, I know who you mean. Crumbs.
His name wasn't Crumbs.
No, I know. I'm not that dumb. Iskandar Kaon. Let's look up the story of Iskandar Kaon.
He was in the Black Legion.
Yeah, I know, but I can use his story and tie it together. Birth of the Black Legion. Eucharist, Leovine Eucharist.
That's it.
Yeah, they've done Fabius Bile as well, so they've pretty much covered most of them now in terms of updating them.
Yeah, it is pretty much Lucius out of the major
Big five, yeah.
Character. Yeah, let's be honest, Hero and Blackheart does need an update as well.
Definitely. Right. Oops, wrong button. What was the first model you painted, and do you still have it?
No, I don't still have it. I lost it when I moved house, years and years ago, but my very first model I painted was a Warhammer Fantasy skink that came with that issue of White Dwarf promoting 5th edition Warhammer Fantasy. I think it was issue 201, I think?
Long before I joined at 365, it's long before my time.
No, it wasn't 201. 202. I wasn't far off.
No, 7 months out is not bad considering how long ago it was.
So it was 1 month out. I said 201 to 202.
Oh, I thought you said 209. Don't know why. What was my brain doing? I'm tired, okay? I've been working all week. I've had about 20 hours combined sleep all week. Leave me alone.
Oh, and also, I just want to point out again, Alpha, if you want proof of the Bretonnians ever fighting the Lizardmen, just look at the 5th edition fantasy box art. It's literally Bretonnians versus Lizardmen.
Were you and Alpha arguing over Bretonnians fighting Lizardmen?
Yes, because he said that Bretonnians wouldn't know what a lizard skull would look like. It's like, they're fighting Lizardmen, they would know.
Right. Fair enough. I think my first model that I painted was either the War Boss or the Space Marine Captain from Assault on Blackreach, because I was 12, I didn't really have any self-control about paint the infantry first. If it's the War Boss, I've still got it. I still use it pretty regularly. It's pretty heavily converted at this point, but I've still got it. If it's the Captain, then I think I've either lost it or sold it. I can't remember which way around it was. I was 12.
Fair enough.
Okay. How much control does each Chaos Primarch have over their Legion? So could they, for example, order all of their legion to gather and then lead them on an attack and expect to get the order followed, or would it be a bit more herding cats? Because I know Magnus has the Thousand Suns back under his thumb, and Mortarion doesn't have a hope in heck, but...
it depends purely on the Primark in question.
Well, the question says
Mortarion
each.
ain't got a chance.
The question says each, so we can always take them one by one.
Right.
World Eaters, no.
No. Death Guard, no, because most of them are more like to follow Typhus than Mortarion at this point.
Yeah. Fulgrim...
No, because the Emperor's sure and too busy doing their own bloody thing. They're too busy getting high.
True, but I suppose if you promise them a chance for vengeance and a chance to bathe in the light of the Phoenix one more time and come together one more time, especially for something like Medusa, you wonder how much control Fulgrim and Eidolon could exert.
Maybe.
Lorgar just is an absentee father.
Yeah, but if Lorgar turned around and said, right, come on, kids, let's go and beat someone up, the word bearers would follow him.
This is true.
Iron Warriors... I imagine half the Iron Warriors would, the other half would be like, no, you're just going to bully us again, kind of thing.
I mean, they do still have Medringrad, which is considered a base of operations, so they're not entirely shattered like the World Eaters are.
No. But I can imagine that some Iron Warriors will be more likely to follow, Perturaba's orders, considering, Perturaba being a petulant dick.
This is valid.
Sons of Horus don't have their Primark anymore.
Now they're the Night Lords.
Alpha Legion, we don't even know if they have their Primark anymore, because we know Alpharius is dead, we just don't know if Omegon is. Because we've got conflicting information regarding Omegon.
Agreed. So, but even if they did... a unified Alpha Legion, we don't even know what that looked like back in the day. So,
yeah, there you go.
Okay. Do you think that machine spirits would be bothered with having extra armor on? How much do machine spirits care about, decorations, ablative armor, extra plating, all those things? Do machine spirits mind? And do tech priests mind?
Well, machine spirits, apparently, they do have, very, very individual personalities.
The big
so
ones
you could argue that it will depend upon the machine spirit. Someone would be like, oh, thank you for the extra stuff, I appreciate it. And others will probably be like, get the shit off me. Kind of thing.
I imagine the big machines, I'd certainly expect that. The smaller ones like Chimeras and Lehman Russes, I don't know if their machine spirits are really powerful enough for that. But yeah, I think they could probably express a preference by how willing they were to start after someone bolted on the extra plate.
As far as tech priests are concerned, I think it's so long as it doesn't deviate from the, divinely ordained schematics too much, I think they don't mind.
Yeah, because they're willing to let you put a fancy flag on it and they're willing to let you paint it a fancy colour. So they're not exactly completely no, it must look like this and do this and this and this and nothing else. But yeah.
As long as you don't try to make, a hammerhead, eagle-eye thrust Jeff. Cookie for anyone who gets that reference.
I don't. Ah, well. I'd love Tacticus to chime in on how the Tau would view their humans doing the same kind of thing, adding ablative armor and stuff, because it could slow them down. It's do you really think that Tau expect Gavesa to keep pace with a Hunter Cadre? The Tau don't deploy when they deploy a Hunter Cadre with Gavesa, then the Gavesa cannot fight like the Tau do. They don't have that sense of unity. They are there as meat grinders, meat shields, ablative bullets / last bolts, or pulse bolts, I suppose. But I don't think they'd expect the Gavesa to truly understand and embrace Montcar or Carrion or whatever in a way that would allow them to fight in perfect unity with the Tau anyway. So let the humans be a gun line and let the Tau do their thing.
I can just imagine a bunch of gay faces adding ablative armor to a devilfish. It's Shasla, we improved your devilfish, and Shasla just it's did orcs get hold of this and loot it or what? Because it looks ugly as sin now. You just stuck a bunch of extra armor plates on it. It's I know, it's the extra protection. It's you ruined the aerodynamics, you fools.
And then the grav drive gets out. and it just clunks to the ground. They're like, we can fix that.
We added wheels.
Devilfish on wheels. Just take the legs off and replace them with wheels and turning it into a freaking trike with wings. What was that Roadrunner noise?
It's so they added a little horn. Actually, no, someone's probably added the whole, diddly dee dee diddly dee 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 horn to a devilfish. It was either that or La Cucaracha.
That one as well.
Yeah.
Dear, oh dear. Question for Remleiz. What is the best bass line in your opinion, and what bass do you have? That's bass with a double S, by the way, not bass as in basing.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question, so is that again?
What is the best bass line in your opinion, and what bass do you have?
I have multiple basses. One that's directly in front of me is it's a Dean Flying V. But I also have a few BC Riches, mainly a Beast and a Warlock. I know, edgy boy. As for best bassline, I have a few different favourite basslines depending on the genre of music in question, but one of my favourite basslines is the live performance of Hammer Smash Face by Cannibal Corpse. You know, that little bass solo at the beginning, like diddle 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 diddle. Yeah, that one before the drop out. That's a nice one. But there's some good ones by musicians such as what's his name? Is it Billy Sheehan? I think his name is. Tends to work with Steve Vai a lot. Oh fuck! I've probably got his name wrong, haven't I? Bugger. But yeah, that's just two of them anyway.
Fair enough. I mean, admittedly, none of that makes any sense to me because I don't really speak guitar in general. Funny
enough, one of the very first few bass lines I ever learned were bass lines to a couple of Jack Off Jill songs. I do want to point out that the bass line to My Cat by Jack Off Jill is the fucking easiest thing ever, which is a great... If it's the very first song you're learning, it's a great one to learn because it's so bloody easy. That does remind me of one of my other favourite bass lines. It's the bass line to another Jack Off Jill song called Vivica. It's got such a nice bass line. It's kind of like a little bit of a melancholic song, but it's got such a nice bass line in it.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand music, but I don't understand guitars in terms of what makes a good bass line for guitar. Like, I played brass instruments, so I'm more used to, like, scream trumpets and trombones and all that sort of thing.
Oh, so are you going to join a Snipe and Whip ska band, are you?
If only I had the time. Right.
But can you play Baggy Trousers by Madness?
Give me back my trombone and give me a month.
Deal. If you would like to hear Tactica Imperialis play Baggy Trousers by Madness, leave a comment below.
I don't have my instrument. I gave it back to the band I played with. It was on loan. I gave it back. I haven't played.
If you would like to buy Tactica Imperialis a trombone...
Do not find it. There are no donation links on my channel. Don't even try it.
Someone will try it. You know that, don't you?
I know. One more for Remleiz. Is there any lore about how Night Lord Remus Ventanus was able to go undercover as an Ultramarine during the Battle of Calth?
The fuck?
Apparently, I think there might have been a Warhammer Community article where they accidentally said Night Lord or something.
Oh, yes. I remember the error. Yeah, they accidentally put him as being the 8th Legion rather than the 13th. Yeah, that was a community fuck up.
Yeah, that was what that was, yeah.
To be honest, it's not the first time they fucked up. I mean, do you remember when 8th Edition dropped and they had that trailer for the Death Guard, and then the trailer said, "We are the 7th Legion," and to which everyone said, "No, you're fucking not, because that's the Imperial Fist."
You're the 14th. 7 is an important number for you because but you're not the 7th Legion.
It's divisible by 7, but...
Yeah. I mean, they do have 7 companies, or they did, but yeah, no, sorry, bad mistake.
I mean, in fairness for that trailer, at least, after like a couple of hours, they did pull the trailer and replace it with a different one, which corrected it.
Yeah, they at least corrected it.
Yeah. Like how they corrected the Emperor's Children mini-thing article. The original Emperor's Children miniature dating back to the 3rd edition, and it's like, that's not the original Emperor's Children miniature from 3rd.
Nope.
This is.
Yeah.
And they corrected the Emperor's Children miniature from 4th edition. Like, there you go.
Let's just say that community team and numbers do not go well together. Legion numbers, edition numbers, years, whatever. Let's just leave it at that.
I think the person in charge with writing the articles and counting has to take off, all their clothes just to be able to count to 21.
That's a little bit harsh.
I just wanted to steal that Chris Jericho promo, I'll be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. If you're going to steal from people like Y2J, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Isn't it mad that everyone still calls him Y2J when the whole Y2K thing passed, 21 years ago?
I know. Right, one more then, because I can see looking at the clock and also my stomach is starting to yell at me. When bolt rounds are described as mass reactive, what does that mean? Does it mean that they only explode when they've penetrated something and are surrounded by a massive object and then they blow up to maximize damage? Or does mass reactive mean something else?
I'm pretty sure that's what mass reactive means. It buries a certain way, and once it's it's basically maximize armor penetration kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, it reacts when it is in contact with mass. Because they are explosive. Remember, bolt shells are essentially mini RPGs. So they are designed to not only penetrate, but also to explode and detonate, which regular bullets don't. So they'll be designed to, when they have either been in contact with a mass of a certain amount, or when they are under a certain amount of pressure, perhaps, or whatever, then they will automatically detonate at that time. I'm not entirely sure, because obviously mass reactive shells don't exist in the real world, because they're incredibly intelligent rounds as well, because they've also got to be, automated to work it out and trigger themselves, which, can be done through automation, but may or may not require some smart tech in order to trigger. So,
yeah. I think I have a PDF of the 2nd edition War Gear book, which might actually explain it.
Yeah, I'm going on Lexicanum and doing the same, just to see what I can find.
Right, the explosive detonates only when it has pierced armor. Any sudden increase in local mass activates the explosive and blows the target apart from the inside.
Okay, so a local increase in mass. Yeah, once it's penetrated. Yeah, okay. It makes it, it gets a certain amount, and once it's been in contact with a certain amount of mass, or has felt a change in mass from the air that it fires through, then it responds to that pressure change, almost a mass change, by detonating after a short window. That makes sense.
Bear in mind, this is from the 2nd edition lore, so it might have changed the definition in later editions, but this is pretty much a clear statement, at the very least saying, yes, it's mass reactive by saying, local increase in mass goes boom. Yeah. Just like the fireworks outside. Fucking hell.
Yeah, so, they've got their diamantine tip and all this stuff, yeah. They're blooming weird. Anyway, we could ramble on about bolt guns all day, I suspect, because, there's something to be said for the humble bolter, because it's not that humble at all.
But not as dangerous as the staple gun.
Oh, I've had enough of staple guns.
Someone use one on you?
No, it's just I've been having to stick posters up and tidy up my classroom and all this lark. Okay. So yeah, I'm done with staple guns. And I hate to say it, but my stomach is done with waiting for food. And we are at about the 2-hour mark.
And on that though then, in which case, thank you very much to everyone who joined in this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, this has been Remleiz from 40k Theories.
And this has been Tactica Imperialis.
And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.